Welcome to the Herd's official YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Colin Cowherd podcast, all of our NFL instant reactions, and more football content. Here we go. One down, two to go. We are rolling. Matt Hasselbeck around the corner. Lincoln Riley stops by. USC Oregon at Autzen. That's going to be one of the games of the year in college football. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, thanks as always for joining us. All right, it's starting to sort itself out. We don't want to waste any time here. We do it every Monday where Colin was right, where Colin was wrong, and let's rip it.
Where Colin was right?
Well, I picked Denver to win the AFC West. I said Kansas City would be good, but a wild card team. And you know I love Bo Nix. And I thought yesterday, especially on that last drive, Bo Nix looked like the veteran quarterback. I just think Denver's got a better roster right now. I didn't think that 2 years ago, but Chris Jones is not playing at the level he was a couple years ago. So I was right on that. I didn't think it was a controversial take when I said Denver's going to win this division and Kansas City will finish second.
Where Colin was wrong.
But I've been higher on the Chiefs than almost everybody else at this network because Andy and Brett Veach and Patrick Mahomes, the three teams they're battling for a wild card spot have all beaten them. The Chargers, the Jags, and the Bills. And they're 0-5 in one-score games. And I just don't think their defense feels as intimidating. And I think Patrick Mahomes is still remarkable. That's not a very good pick. And I think in the last couple years, it feels like Josh Allen's more dynamic. So I've been a little higher on Kansas City, maybe because I've seen them turn it around and had sluggish 2 or 3 game spots. But I don't think they're in a good spot right now.
Where Colin was right?
I said week 1, I said Ben Johnson's the right coach. You can talk about Caleb, but what I see from Ben Johnson, I see what I saw in Detroit. He's going to clean it up. The Bears are 5-1 in one-score games, and I don't think what I said is a revelation, but it became very crystal clear by week 2, 3, and 4 that the identity of the team was not going to be Caleb. It was going to be Ben Johnson, precision, a run game, and an interior O-line that they bought in the offseason. I've also always said young quarterbacks are better with young offensive coaches. Once again, LaFleur with Jordan Love helped. McVay with a young Goff helped. Ben Johnson with Caleb has become crucial.
Where Colin was wrong.
Maybe I'm a little tough on Brock Purdy. I thought he was great yesterday. Having not played for a couple of months, he and George Kittle are money together. When they connect, Kittle and Brock Purdy have a 141 career passer rating. Yesterday, 3 touchdowns, accurate. They're able to move the pocket, good in the red zone. Listen, he adds mobility. I'm kind of tough on him, but I thought yesterday he kind of blew me away.
Where Colin was right?
The one quarterback in the 2024 class I was skeptical of was J.J. McCarthy, and I kept saying, what's the wow trait? Folks, he's got a 62 passer rating. That's the worst of any starter in the league. And Justin Jefferson is disappearing slowly, and his body language is telling you he's not taking it well. I just think, trust your eyes. Does a quarterback feel a little overwhelmed? His body language, his feet. I think he's got a good enough arm. I think he moves well enough. But his misses are confidence misses, and I think that tells you right now he's not sure of J.J. McCarthy, and he was the one quarterback I just didn't get, and so far I'm right.
Where Colin was wrong.
I didn't think Brent Venables was the best pick at Oklahoma, and I didn't think Oklahoma would be that great in the SEC. I was wrong on both counts. They have allowed the fewest points in the SEC. It's the best defense in the conference. Venables has created an identity. He went and found a great quarterback, but I mean, they've beaten Bama in back-to-back years and were the better team and forced them into uncharacteristic mistakes. So, you know what? I thought Texas would be the better of the 2 Big 12 teams going to the SEC, but I don't know what Texas's identity is. I know what Oklahoma's is. They are physical. They are tough. They got a little bit of a Georgia feel to them, and I was wrong.
Where Colin was right.
I did not like Detroit when Ben Johnson left, hiring somebody in the building. Make it a global search. Well, the Lions defense, in 3 of Detroit's losses, they've scored 13, 17, and 9 points. I'm sorry, with that offensive line and those backs and those receivers, that's not good enough. They're down in third down percentage, rushing, passing, yards per play. They're not even good on fourth down right now. I think when you lose an elite coach or a coordinator, don't just look inside the building. You got to go open your eyes up to every candidate in the country. I think I was right on that with Detroit.
Where Colin was right.
I had said multiple times this year, I had heard that Brian Kelly just didn't want to grind anymore, and he may have taken that LSU job for the money. What do you know? Bruce Feldman reporting he cashed out, spent more time golfing than around the building. I had 2 people tell me in the last calendar year that, you know what, it happens. You get into your 60s and you kind of lose the drive, and he didn't really have it. It was an opportunity to make some money. He's been a great coach. I don't necessarily hold it against him. I hope it doesn't happen to me. But what I had heard from 2 people I trust turned out to be true, and Bruce Feldman's reporting doubled down on that. Colin right, Colin wrong. And with that, Matt Hasselbeck, every Monday, 18 years in the NFL. So it's funny.
Look at you. You're in Chicago now, just cashing checks, not doing the grind.
I'm cashing checks so I can buy another winter coat is what I'm doing with my money.
And boots.
Yeah. So Kansas City's 5-5, and you can really go 2 ways on it. But the one thing that jumps out to me, Matt, is when Chris Jones a couple years ago had an Aaron Donald field where they just move him around the line and you couldn't block him. He's not that now. And I don't think the defense feels as fast or as intimidating. I wish I could be more positive, but I don't love what I see. I felt at the end of that game, I thought Denver was controlling Kansas City. They were controlling the clock. They had better weapons. That's what it felt like to me. What say you?
Well, it was a great game. The game could have gone either way, and I feel like that was their season last year. They just won all those close games last year. That's really what happened. Early in the year, they just said, oh, but they don't have their wide receivers, and that's the problem. But I think if you really look at it, I think turnover margin is a thing. You mentioned Chris Jones and what he used to be, just wreaking havoc up front. That created turnovers for their defense. So turnover margin's a thing. But I think if I were to point to one thing, everyone else has just gotten better.
Yeah.
Like the Denver Broncos are way better. Bo Nix is better than what the Chiefs used to have to go up against. And I think that's the thing. No different this week. Let's listen. Do you believe in the Chiefs? Are they a playoff team? Yeah, probably a playoff team. Do you believe in them? Can they go on the road? Yeah, but now they got the Colts this week. Colts are better. Everyone's better. So just doing what you've always done isn't going to work for Kansas City. They got to find ways to win these close games against better competition now.
You know, Caleb and Bo Nix, I said this last week, they're durable, they're inconsistent, they're uneven, but both feel pretty confident late. It's almost like Bo is hard on himself and is kind of tough on himself and comes in a little anxious and lightens up as the game goes. What did you make of his last drive? Was it a play calling drive to you or a quarterback drive?
Yeah, no, it was a quarterback drive, and it was a quarterback play that won the game. I don't see those 2 quarterbacks similarly. I think Bo Nix is more in that Drake May category. I know people are hard on him. I see things critiquing him. I don't see it. Bo Nix is a baller. He's a sure thing. He is absolutely their franchise quarterback now and for the future, no doubt. The corner route, I think that you're showing there right now, that is not open. He is completely covered. It was what quarterbacks call an us or nobody throw. We either catch it or nobody catches it. The ball's not in harm's way. And that sealed the game. It was kind of a Mahomes-esque type play. You go above the X's and O's. It's a great call by Spags and the Kansas City Chiefs. It's great coverage by the defense. It's a better throw. And defensive backs, they'll say it in their meeting rooms also. They'll say, you know what? There's no defense. There's no coverage for a perfect throw. We did what we could do. The quarterback just beat us there. You got to tip your cap to him. And that's what Bo Nix did. And like you mentioned, it's in clutch, critical moments that he's doing it. I'm a believer of Bo Nix, have been and continue to be.
So, listen, Rams, Seahawks, Andrew Luck had a quality that I loved. He could throw back-to-back terrible picks, and he didn't care. He had a short memory. Sam's got a little bit of that where you're like, Sam doesn't care. Sam's a playmaker, and he's just going to let it rip. I thought yesterday he saw things late. When I watched it, I'm like, oh, he's just not crisp. Did you ever get into those games where you weren't seeing it? You have a pick, but your team needs you. And talk about the psychology of a bad Sunday, but yet that last drive, you can't pout. The ball's at the 1. You got to drive and get a field goal. Have you been in games like that?
Yeah, it was an interesting one. He's a great player and has had a great year. He had a terrible game. And, if he just throws 3 interceptions instead of 4, they probably win the game. But 4 interceptions cost them the opportunity and the best punt I've ever seen in my life by the Rams. That was another thing. But I think for me, what I see in him that I have felt is that you're so sped up. Jared Verse and the pass rush, it was pretty legit. And he was sped up. And then his elbow was down low. And then balls are getting tipped that normally wouldn't get tipped. And he was just a little bit rushed. He was quick to get to his check down because 1, 2, 3 aren't open. I'm getting to number 4. Well, guess what? Was number 4 open? Like that, you need to actually make that decision too. But you're so sped up because the defense is doing such a good job with their pass rush. And that's what I think happened. I also think that's a team. Seattle's a team that's going to learn from this game. And, a lot of times, a lot of those negative Sam Darnold plays from the game yesterday were on like 3rd and 3. And 3rd and 3, if you're going to say we're going to be a running team, and the defense, the Rams are playing dime defense at times, you got to be able to just run the ball on 3rd and 3. That's the whole point of getting into 3rd and manageables. So the defense has to defend the pass and the run and not like 3rd and 7 to 10, stuff like that. So I think they'll learn from this. I would chalk this up as the first game of probably 3 that the Seattle Seahawks and the Rams play this year. And I think all the games will be kind of like this one.
So it's interesting. I always look for a team to have an identity. And I actually think Chicago's identity is Ben Johnson in the run game. But we pay a lot of attention to Caleb. But I think when they got Drew Dahlman, Joe Tooney, Jonah Jackson, Ben tipped his hand. We want to run the ball. I want to make it easier for my young quarterback. Again, Caleb had moments, had plays. He does. He throws that ball. He has a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. But I kind of see their identity. They're not a great defense, but it's a playmaking defense, and it's a run team. That's how I view them. How do you view the Bears?
I think they're a team that's overachieving with a great head coach. I mean, they are 7-3 right now. And to think about who they were last year and who they are this year. Ben Johnson, Ryan Poles done a great job building this thing. Caleb is a young player learning on the fly. And as he's learning, they're winning. He's morphing into Ben Johnson's kind of quarterback. Is he there? No, I don't think he is. He's really not. But they seem to find ways to win, whether it's a 2-minute drive by Caleb doing a great job in 2 minutes, or special teams saving the day yesterday and basically winning the game for them. Other times it's been defense stepping up. So this is Ben Johnson. I think the big fear with him was that he was a great play caller and he was cute and fun with his trick plays. But was he going to be a culture setter? Was he going to bring in like a new DNA into that organization? And that's what happens with DNA culture setter type coaches. You set a standard and an expectation for the details and the discipline that are going to happen in your organization every single day. And like, quite honestly, you saw teams lose games because they didn't have detail. They didn't have discipline. They were selfish. And I think the Bears have like kicked that out the door with Ben Johnson. He's a great leader. He's a great play caller. He's a great developer of a young quarterback. I think they're ascending. Do I think this is their year after I say all that? No, they haven't really beat anybody, but the schedule's getting tougher here. We'll find out who they really are.
So it's hard to me. I think one of the hardest things to do as a coach is create an identity. And then when you have it, maintain it. You can lose it. You can lose a star player, free agency, injuries. I don't know what Philadelphia's identity was. Last year, it was Saquon, big plays, everybody fearful. They don't run the ball. A lot of receiver drama. I almost think the identity is their 2 defensive interior linemen where they just, any big 4th down play, they're unblockable. Can you win Super Bowls when offensively, I kind of feel like good God, they're like second most 3-and-outs in the league. Is that a Super Bowl level team to you?
They are a Super Bowl level team if they start playing their best football late in the year. after Thanksgiving, they got to get hot. They have all the ingredients. And who else, if it's not them, who is it? And they can compete with anybody because of what you said, their defensive line and, the havoc that they wreak on a passing game. Like I was saying with Sam Darnold was sped up. Jared Goff was way too sped up. And there's not much you can do. I mean, he doesn't have the athleticism that a Caleb Williams has, so he has to throw kind of on time. And there were guys open, but he couldn't get the ball to them because of the pass protection. And then if you short set a defensive line that's really good, they know just to get their hands up and bat balls and all that kind of stuff. So I think the danger for Philly right now is that they did an obvious job of trying to force it to A.J. Brown yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think it was pretty good results. But I just think you got to be careful. Like, I know you lost your right tackle yesterday, but it's about Saquon. It's about explosive runs, and it's about letting the A.J. Brown plays kind of come to you. I thought they were about 50-50 there. Now, Philly fans might push back on me and be like, hey, good stuff happens when we throw it to A.J., and I probably would agree. You might even get some defensive pass interference flags that aren't really, they're a little questionable. We'll leave it at that. So, but I just think the identity of who they are, that needs to stay to the X's and O's and not get like the distractions of front office conversations. And we're going to force it to AJ. And like, that's not what great culture and great teams do. And I do think they have been a team with great culture and a winning culture and like putting the team first. So that would be just my fear that it's a slippery slope with them. And I think they're doing just an okay job right now.
Listen, there's two old quarterbacks that are still on any Sunday playing pretty high-level football, Stafford and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron now has a wrist injury. If he can avoid surgery, go back to the end of your career when, I always say young players heal faster. Older players, it's like the NBA. If a guy wears 2 knee braces, attack him. He can't defend anybody. Now you're Aaron, and you're older, and you have a wrist injury. Does it change the way he plays, do you think?
Well, yeah, listen, I dealt with this exact same thing. And when you break a wrist or a bone in your hand, you immediately go to a hand specialist. It's kind of like, it looks like it's just a whole different world in there. And so, 2 scenarios, I think he either has to have surgery or he doesn't. If he doesn't, then he's wearing a cast. And, my experience when Pete Carroll was in Seattle, I was the quarterback. I broke my wrist. I wore a cast all week, never took a snap in practice. And then for the games, we would cut the cast off and I would wear a splint or a brace. Can you do it? Yeah. Is it very painful? Yeah, it's very painful. What you do is you hand the ball off with your right hand for all handoffs to the right or to the left. Marshawn Lynch was my running back. And in fact, if I remember correctly, I think Marshawn said, hey, my quarterback in college at Cal, Aaron Rodgers, he did something like this to his left hand, and he handed all the balls off to me with his right hand, and you should do that too. And that's what we did that season. I did exactly what I just said. The Beastquake game, I was handing the ball off righty and lefty. So if he avoids surgery, I think he could still play. It's not necessarily a ball security thing. It's more about protecting himself as he goes to the ground. And then maybe taking snaps under center might be difficult depending, but I think it's doable. I've done it. And apparently, according to Marshawn Lynch, Aaron Rodgers has already done it when he was at Cal. So I think if you're a Steelers fan, you're hoping that he doesn't need surgery and it's something that he can just cast up and play through.
Well, Cowboys Raiders tonight. Matt Hasselbeck, as always, delivers. Great seeing you, bud.
All right. See you, Colin.
All right. There's not a lot of veteran quarterbacks in this league. Flacco, obviously, but it's getting to be a younger league, and there's a lot of young quarterbacks, but Stafford doesn't make any mistakes. Aaron's never been a big interception guy, but if he's banged up, there's limitations to what Aaron can do. You just heal more slowly as you age. 6 touchdowns for Josh Allen. He's normalized it. That's how good he is. I don't think I love Buffalo's roster. I just love Josh Allen. Sean Tucker ate him alive. Tampa Bay running back. It's really interesting watching Buffalo. They are lopsided. It's just not a place you want to be in the NFL. Like you want an identity, but you don't want your identity to be one player. And when I watched Buffalo yesterday, I've come to the conclusion their roster's okay, and Josh Allen's the greatest football player I've ever seen. And that's literally how I feel. I feel like I'm watching Ohtani. I mean, every snap, he can run, he can pass, he can run and pass, although that one was called back. He can do everything. So generally speaking, you want your offense to have structure, and I feel with Josh Allen half the time, It doesn't necessarily have structure. He's just kind of making it up as he goes, and I'm totally okay with it. But I mean, even as a top rushing team, I wonder how much is James Cook in the O-line and how much is teams terrified of not committing to Josh Allen every time he hands the ball off. So it's in Buffalo's 7 wins, Allen has 10 rushing touchdowns. In Buffalo's 3 losses, he has none. So they're not a terribly balanced team. And, I mean, yesterday, their 3 leading receivers were an undrafted receiver and 2 backs. That is not ideal. But it just works with Buffalo because Josh Allen is that good. Any other team, when you're relying on an undrafted receiver and backs to be your receivers, you're 4-13. They're 7-3, and it feels fine. So I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl or get to one when you're this unbalanced, but I don't love their defense. I just think Josh Allen I've never seen a better football player. I've never seen, it's like Big Ben plus. Big Ben was very good. Everything's a little better with Josh Allen. And, I mean, he's led the NFL in touchdowns since he arrived into the league. He hasn't necessarily had a running game until a couple years ago. He's never had a great receiving core. He's got a defensive coach. It's just 6 touchdowns feels almost normal for Josh Allen. Here's Sean McDermott after.
You guys know Josh. He's hard to stop. And, you know, we all know how last week went. And, you know, probably a better question for him. But the Josh that I know is very, I mean, he will not be denied. That's the type of competitor, type of person, type of teammate that he is. My heart could use something a little bit, a different type of game. But, again, this win right here, as they are all hard to come by, this win right here showed me how tough we are.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, when you play with that level of mobility and athleticism, I can live with picks. I can live with mistakes. There's just, I mean, as good as Mahomes is, he's not this big. He doesn't run with this much confidence and size and impact. He is right now the best quarterback in the league. He is the best quarterback. He's not the most decorated. He's the best quarterback in the league. J-Mac with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Well, Colin, this could be the last time we talk about Aaron Rodgers for a while. He has some sort of wrist injury, landed kind of awkwardly here as you see a big rare hit from the Bengals defensive front, and it appears that there's a slight break in his left wrist. Now, it's not his throwing hand, obviously. He didn't return after the injury. Steelers were able to survive thanks to 2 defensive touchdowns. Yeah. Hey, don't get it twisted. They were not great yesterday with Rodgers or Rudolph. They got 2 defensive touchdowns to pull away. Here is Tomlin talking about the latest with Aaron Rodgers.
He was excited about the win. I just talked to him. But that's all we talked about. We didn't talk about his injury. We talked about the significance of the win.
Aaron's injury designation was questionable. Could he have returned in the second half? I
don't have the answer to that, to be honest with you. I'll have more information next time we talk.
Boy, you know who is a big winner here? Your Chicago Bears. Colin, I'm looking at the schedule. Bears hosting Mason Rudolph this weekend.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not saying that's a huge downgrade, but it's a downgrade from Rodgers. And all of a sudden, the Pittsburgh Steelers, 6-4, look at that daunting schedule. I think they lose with Mason Rudolph against the Bears. I don't think Rudolph can beat Buffalo. Sorry. Then you got the Ravens. I think it's okay to write off the Pittsburgh Steelers if Aaron Rodgers has to go on IR with a wrist injury.
Yeah, I mean, I Pittsburgh feels like Pittsburgh has felt the last several years where they're around 500. I will say they end the season at Detroit.
Loss.
At Cleveland, where we just watched Cleveland's defense stymie Lamar Jackson. So they played Baltimore. So last year, remember, they played very well. I think at one point they were 10-3 or something, and then all of a sudden they went on a 5-game skid at the end. It kind of feels the same thing. They come in with Mike Tomlin's energy and focus and passion, and the rah-rah speeches have a ceiling, and after Thanksgiving, things slowly deteriorate. So I kind of feel like this is what they were going to be. They were going to be a 9-8 football team, and I looking at the schedule without Aaron, that's about what they would be.
Yeah, now the tough question, Colin, Have you seen enough from Aaron Rodgers that if you're Pittsburgh, you want him back next year?
Yes, I want him back for 1 year. And
Really?
I want to draft a quarterback this year, and then I want him to learn from Aaron. Absolutely.
Whoa.
Because I think only one quarterback's ready to play immediately, Mendoza. Everybody else, I think, should stay in college or come out and sit for a year.
So hold up. So you're selling Aaron. Hey, Aaron, come back to us.
Yeah.
We're going to be fine. We got this tight end, Washington emerging as a tight end. Jalen Warren. We're going to be fine. We are going to draft a quarterback early. I know you want us to get a left tackle or another receiver or something else, but we're drafting a quarterback. We're drafting your future replacement. How do you think that's going to go over with Mr. Darkness Retreat?
It doesn't matter because he's got 1 year left. I mean, if he was 28, it wouldn't go over well. But, I mean, Aaron, I think to his credit, has enough self-awareness to go as he's not the future of Pittsburgh. But by the way, he was a great teammate of Jordan Love. When they drafted Jordan Love, he could have been bitter. He was in his prime.
6 years ago.
Yeah, but again, he was in his prime. Green Bay was his town, and he was like a good mentor. Aaron will be fine. He understands what he is now at this age. He's too smart not to know that.
And one more follow-up. Is that what you just described, Aaron Rodgers coming back, drafting a quarterback, is that enough to keep Mike Tomlin from saying, hey, guys, the New York Giants or the Miami Dolphins want to trade for me? I would like to listen to what they have to say because I got to be, hey, do you want, old man Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback next year? They're not competing in the AFC, bro. They're not going anywhere. Well,
I don't think Mike Tomlin has given any indication he's unhappy coaching the Pittsburgh Steelers. So my guess is he stays. He's never been a ladder climber. This is his job and he loves it.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the Green Bay Packers. An uninspiring push. I had them -7. They beat the Giants by 7. Did not look great. Obviously, there was the Josh Jacobs injury, but also Jordan Love got dinged up, Colin. Took a big hit, left the game. Malik Willis came in and did a damn good job. Love did throw 2 touchdowns after returning. Here's LaFleur on his quarterback and his toughness.
It was so gritty and tough. He was under duress, it felt like quite a bit. And I thought he did a really nice job of just giving guys opportunity to make plays. Certainly had a lot of drops today that we were able to obviously overcome. For his ability to come back and play the way he did, I was really proud of him.
I thought that Christian Watson emerged. Romeo Doubs had bad drops, but I thought Christian Watson, who's been dinged up, kind of their speed guy, big body guy, I thought he played well, and I thought Jordan made a couple of world-class throws. I think this team should stop trying to define itself as a run team. They can't. They should pass the ball more and hand it over to Jordan. They keep trying to become something, and then Jacobs went into the tent, and I'm like, guys, you're not a run team. You've tried all year. I know LaFleur, that's his brand. I think they should just if Jordan's got to throw it 40 times, let him do it. But I don't think they're going to run their way to a division title. I don't. I think they have to put it in Jordan's hands and let it rip.
So here's one of the problems. It seems like, reading some of these, X's and O's guys, teams have solved Jordan Love. They said, we're not giving you the deep ball. We don't trust Jordan Love to make all the layups and the right reads and go matriculate down the field slowly. We don't think you can.
Yeah.
Yesterday, the dummy Giants basically were like, hey, we're going to leave Watson and all these guys man coverage down the field. And, of course, the Giants secondary stinks. So Love had some success. But, Colin, when the playoffs hit, they're not giving Love these 40-yard bombs. They're just not going to be there. I don't know that he's good enough to take the 8-yard check down, read the defense. It's been a trying year for him. And the defense, Micah Parsons was great. Your guy, Micah Parsons, excellent game yesterday. I look at this offense, Colin, they barely had 300 yards of offense. Like against the Giants, who are one of the bottom 5 defenses in the league.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are winning ugly this year. Chicago, Denver, Philly, Green Bay. I think it's a year of everybody's smushed in the middle. There's no dominant team. And the winners, the big winners in this league, outside of maybe the Rams, are winning ugly.
Yeah. Final story is college football. It was a spicy Saturday. A lot happened around the college football landscape. One of the things that did not happen was Arch Manning and the Texas Longhorns offense. Georgia reeled off 21 straight to blow open what was a close game at halftime. I'll let you chime in on Arch Manning, who I didn't see much from.
Texas, since they joined the SEC, has only lost 4 games, 3 to Georgia. They just don't match up. Georgia is a much stronger, more physical team. I think they're a better defensive team, and I think they recruit to it. I think this is a bad matchup. It feels like a finesse fighter and a slugger, and they just don't match up with Georgia. Texas to Oklahoma plays a type of football that can beat Georgia and Bama. I don't know if Texas does right now. Arch was fine. I don't love the receivers at Texas.
Well, they lost 2 guys to the pros. Here's Sark talking about their college football playoff aspirations.
Disappointing. It was a pretty good game for 3 quarters, and it was not a great game in the fourth quarter, at least not for us. So I think the challenge for us now is we got a 2-week season in front of us, and we got to get up off the mat. We got to go compete, and we got to find a way to go win the next 2 ball games and see what happens.
Yeah, I don't think they're a playoff team.
Well, they do have one path to the playoffs. They've got to beat Texas A&M, and I know the Texas guy on our staff thinks they got a shot. A&M looked like garbage for a half against South Carolina before an unbelievable comeback. I don't see A&M as like some machine. I'll say Texas is going to have a chance in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched the entire A&M South Carolina game and wasn't impressed.
Yeah, I know it's an NFL Monday, but right now it looks like Ohio State appears to be a lock for the Natty. Who are they facing, Colin? And don't tell me Indiana, okay? I know we like Indiana. It's got to be someone else, right?
Probably Georgia. J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Lincoln Riley around the corner, getting ready for Oregon at Autzen. Game of the week next.